What's going on, guys, and welcome back. So it just got through raining here, and luckily it cooled off quite a bit. It was like in the 80s, upper 80s, almost 90 degrees, and super humid, but it's nice and clean now and dried off. It's gotten much cooler after the rain, and now we're ready to do some work because my brakes just came in for this thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the rear brakes. Super easy swap on this Avalanche here. It's gonna be the same for all trucks. It's just knowing what you have for rotors on this vehicle, and so you got to get the right ones. These are the 330 millimeter ones. I think there's also 325, and that just refers to the overall width of everything. So if you have dual piston rear calipers, which I do, then you have to get the 330, and I think the single piston calipers are on either the two-wheel drive trucks, or maybe it's the non-Z71 or something about the rear locker. I'm not sure what it is. You just have to know whether you have dual or single rear calipers, and that's going to decide which kit you're going to buy. But this is a Detroit axle kit. Came with everything that we're going to need here. Nice parts cleaner and some brake fluid, as well as some nice ceramic pads here, which look pretty decent. New clips too, and some nice new rotors. So we got some cleaner to clean these. My rotors are shot because my stuff's all metal to metal. I let it go way too far, but I knew the rotors were rusted anyway, so we're gonna see just how bad it was. I always like taking brakes apart that are way too far gone, so we're gonna see how it looks. But I'm gonna go ahead and get the rear of this thing jacked up, and we'll tear it apart and see what it looks like. Alright, so now that I got my wheel spacer off and I got all my lug nuts off, they were like insanely tight. I guess my gun at work is just ridiculously strong, and this gun is on its way out, like I said, so wasn't even up for the challenge to do those lug nuts, but oh well. You can see how badly rusted the rotor is. You guys will see it easier when I take it off. I'm probably going to pull off, I don't know if I'm going to lubricate the slide pins or not. Probably should. Yeah, it depends how good of a job you want to do. I don't know. I'm just going to, for now, I'm just going to pull the brackets out, and then we'll see if we can take it apart further from there. But I think they're 18. It would be good to get a nice shallow in there, but I don't think I'll be able to. So we'll see if I can get the breaker bar in there and try to bust them loose, and we'll get these brackets off here. Alright, so I got an 18 here on my breaker bar. It's shallow, which is nice to have. You really would prefer a shallow 18. So I'm going to go ahead and get it on there and see if I can bust this guy loose. I might actually get a little more leverage here with this. And these might not be as tight on yours, but I'm sure these have been taken off and then retightened by some maniac, being myself or my dad or something like that, working at the shop. But yeah, they can be a chore to get, but if you get the right leverage here, you can get them loose. Go. Got them both loose, so now it's just working them out. And there we go. There he is. So we can go ahead and maybe hook him over here, or maybe like this. Yep. That way he's hanging by that. We can take off our rotor. Alrighty. Oh, okay. Looks like we might be in need of an axle seal here. So this is what we had going on the front. You can see this from the outside. You see the outside, and you see this brake pad, and you say, you know, you got a little bit of life left. You know, that's like 5. That's like 5mm or 3 to 5-ish. So, you know, you would think you got some life left. The rear pad, he's down lower. That's 2 to 3. And then you look at the back of this rotor here. Not only is it full of grease for our leaking axle seal, but also our braking surface is non-existent. This pad here, you can see it's got like a little raised area here, but this guy's just riding on here, and you're barely braking on this thing. So I got the bracket off over here, and I have my die grinder, and I'm going to go ahead and take the die grinder to it and try to clean out the area in here, because they get all rusted in here, and then when you go to put your clips in, you have a big problem. So I'm going to go ahead and grind that out, and I'm going to take a grinder to the rest of this, and I may shoot some paint on this to keep it from rusting further. I'm not sure if I'm going to go that far yet, but if I do, I think it'll come out pretty nice. I don't think I have any paint to do the calipers, but you know, maybe I'll do the calipers too. Gotta see what we're getting into, but might be nice to do. We'll see. So you could see I just went ahead and slid the bracket right out of here when I removed it, and you can see these pins are kind of nasty. So I'm going to clean these pins up, and depending on the surface here, I may or may not hit it with some paper, like a little bit of emery paper or something like that. And we're just going to clean it up, make them look a little bit less rusty, and hopefully at the end we'll grease them and we'll have nice smooth brake pedal operation. And I'd like to clean out all this stuff too over the brake shoe too, the brake shoes, just to clean it up, make sure everything is nice. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and clean up these slide pins a little bit, and even bother removing them. They're really on there good. You don't need to. It'll just slide off once you get it all apart. But yeah, I think I might end up painting the caliper too. I was thinking about it, I might as well. So I might just give it a quick wire brush, tape it off, and hit it with a little bit of spray paint. Nothing too crazy. I'm not going to go nuts. Just the parts that you'll see. But yeah, we'll see if we can make it look a little bit nicer. So they totally make a tool for this, but I'll show you guys a quick trick here that I learned. So if you take a pair of vice grips that are big like this, if you happen to have some, and a brake pad, and you can, the old brake pad anyway, and you can squeeze it, and then you can, maybe you can see it or not, the piston will go in a little bit. So you just got to go a little bit further each time with your old brake pad until this thing does not compress any longer. And your pistons are going to continue to go in, and it'll make room for your nice new thick brake pads, because these pistons are pushed all the way out because these brakes were pretty shot. So you'll need to do this in order to get it all back together, but it's best to use something that's wide, that way you can push all the way across. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I'm going to tape off these parts that I don't want to spray, and then we'll see if we can make this guy look nice. Alright, so after painting the bracket, I let it dry for a while. This is what it should look like once you get your clips in here, just like this. Got your new clips, nice painted bracket, and nice new brake pads. So this loaded bracket looks pretty decent. Pretty happy with the way it came out, honestly. Yeah, it might not stay looking like this forever. It'll continue to rust, but got the majority of the rust off. Now I want to make sure that our slide pins fit in here good, so I'm going to go ahead and take a little red scouring pad to it. And we got our nice painted caliper too. So this thing's looking pretty hot. I'm going to go ahead and pop this thing out on the inside. I got a new clip to fit on the inside here, so I'll fling him out, and we'll go ahead and get a new one in there, as well as clean up these slide pins, and then we'll go ahead and hit these with some lubricant, and then we can go ahead and put this thing back together. Also got to grab a rag here, maybe a cleaner rag, and I'm going to clean up these brake rotors too. So I'm going to go ahead and spray them with the parts cleaner that came with it, and make sure they're all cleaned up, and then I'll go ahead and throw them on. Pretty excited. It's going to look pretty sweet. So I got everything all back together here. I got it all mounted and tightened down, and you can see we got that little bit of silver paint on the caliper and the black paint on the bracket, and it really dresses it up down here. It looks nice with the new rotor and everything. Eventually the rotor will get all rotted off and everything, just like it was before, just because we live in New England and all that good stuff. But at least the paint will stay on here for a little while, and the bracket hopefully won't get that much more rusted than it was. But yeah, you only really have to paint the areas that you see, but just make sure you tape it off, because one thing I don't like is when I see overspray on people's trailing arms and control arms and stuff. That really just rubs me the wrong way. But I'm going to throw the wheel back on and show you guys how good this looks, just with a couple little rattle cans, you know, some high heat caliper paint you can find at AutoZone. You can really dress it up, make it look nice through the wheel, especially if you got an open spoke design like this, or something like this too. That would be nice. We're going to do these calipers next here. You can see those really good. I think red's going to look good on this truck. So it was time for me about, and we also had some scraping. I think it was a backing plate noise. It was rotational. It would scrape like once every revolution, but hopefully that'll be all fixed now because we have some nice new rotors. Those other ones were definitely shot. You can see this one here is pretty rusted. All along the outside is like really bad. Looks like it's about to snap, so not a very solid braking setup, but that's gonna do it. I'm gonna go ahead and put the other side together, and maybe I'll show a clip of that. But that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Hopefully you learned something. Yeah, in order to get it back together, what I ended up doing is removing one of the pins here. So I removed this one slide pin, and what I end up doing is lubricating the slide pin, and that way we make sure that everything travels nice and freely. This is our pin right here. I put a little bit of white lithium grease on this thing right here, which is what slides into the bracket. So yeah, I made sure to wipe this down, and I hit it with a little bit of red Scotch-Brite just to clean it up, because there was a little bit of corrosion on it. But if you get these pins nice and clean like this, and then you lube them up, and yeah, they can really make a difference when you go ahead and hit that brake pedal. You're going to get that nice smooth travel. So someday I'll do this to the front, and then we'll have a nice brake pedal. But these little things make a difference. If you go through here and you lubricate all this, and they give you some grease to put on the back of the brake pads, where the piston meets the brake pad. But I never do that. I never have a problem with that stuff. But you know, maybe you want to do it if you're that crazy about it. But I just lubricate the slide pins because that's the part that actually matters to me. A little bit of a squeal when the piston pushes on here is not my main concern. They want you to put a little bit of grease right here, so when the piston comes onto it, it doesn't, like, I don't know, make a noise or whatever. But I never have any problems with that, so I just leave that alone rather than potentially get some grease on the braking surface. Don't do that. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and clean this rotor over here, and we're pretty much ready to start the reassembly. I'm gonna go ahead and put it all back together with some lubricant in here and the rubber boots back on and all that good stuff. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this rear brake upgrade. Not really an upgrade. They're ceramic, but they're you know, basically just Detroit axle stuff. So I'll put a link in the description to the Detroit axle stuff that I got on Amazon. Hopefully you guys go and buy it because it's really nice. Hopefully the car stops good. I can't imagine it wouldn't stop much better than it already did, based on the fact that everything was kind of shot. My braking surface was you know, like this wide. So thanks for watching, guys, and peace. Hopefully you enjoy.